What's the advantage of buying an established business?
Okay, the advantage of buying an established business is that if it's got a good reputation, customer base, you could basically jump in straight away. The disadvantage is that a lot of the time the owner, unless it's a really large corporation, the owner knows most of the customers. So when the owner goes, it's like a good example is you have a takeaway. It's got a good turnover, works 5.5 days a week, it's established. However, once the owner sells and the new owner comes in, they lose 50% of the customers because the customers never came for the hamburgers or the chips. They came to say hi to, a friend of mine, Paritza, had a takeaway. Used to visit him very often when I was there, and I'd make a special trip just to say hi, plus use his shop. Since he left the business, I think I went there once in 3 years. So that's one of the things people have to understand is what the bookwork says that they're making. Once that person leaves, it will halve. And then you have to rebuild it up. But once again, you still have to stick to the rules of what's your goals, all the other bits and pieces, because yes, it's exciting and it's interesting the first couple of months of understanding how to run it, what to buy, what the food is. And we're using the takeaway business as an example. Once that 2-month period is over, then it's every single day is almost the same. And so you have to keep motivated. So once again, the goals that you have in life, that's what's going to keep you getting there early enough and leaving a little bit later and, maximizing as much as you can, and then trying to see if you can build the business, like for instance, with that takeaway to build, there might be some larger businesses around that you can, send them sandwiches or do their lunches for their whole staff and things like that. So so there is advantages, but also when you're buying a business, you really have to negotiate well. You really have to look at what the business is doing. You've got to also forget about what the cash flow is in the business, as let's call it, some of it is cash. That doesn't count in the taking. Somebody could say, listen, this business makes $200,000 profit, but it makes an extra $100,000 cash. Well, you have to prove that. And let's say in the worst case scenario, you buy a business for the family, you end up somehow passing away, that business has to then be on-sold to somebody else. So if the bookwork only says that you're making 200,000, that's all you can do. You can't buy the business as it's making 300,000. So there's a few tricky areas in that.
What about franchise? Is that the same as buying a business, or?
The franchises, there is some advantages to franchise. I've always stayed away from them simply because people want the security of knowing that there's going to be phone calls. And let's use, there is a good franchise out there called Jim's Mowing. Okay? Let's use that as an example. You have a certain area, you've paid them a certain fee every single month. That covers advertising, that covers a whole lot of things. But then when you look at it and you go, wait a minute, every month I have to pay 5% franchise fees. And let's say I think Jim's Mowing is very, very fair, and 10% marketing. So that's 15% of your money is gone. In that example, if you letter dropped 1,000 houses every single week for 6 months, you will end up having more customers than you know what to do with. But at the end of that 6 months, and let's say your investment is a little bit higher, let's say the franchise is $1,000 a month, okay? Make it simple. You need to invest $2,000 a month in your own marketing for 6 months. So in 6 months' time, you've spent $12,000. Your franchise fee was $6,000, okay? It's double. But in 12 months' time, your marketing is zero. Your franchise fee is another $6,000 for that 6 months. So in 3 years' time, you've paid $36,000 for the franchise fee. It's not your business, okay? Yet, let's call it Tinys Mowing. You actually have a business there that is doing really well. You haven't had to pay any more, and you've just paid $12,000. Now, in 5 years' time, you want to change and do something else. In 5 years' time, you've had an established business for 5 years, and let's say you've got 2 or 3 staff members. One of those staff members might want to take it on. So now you've got a saleable asset as well. You know, so there's you've got to look at everything. But once again, as long as you've got that drive to do the marketing and do all what needs to be done, franchises, as I said, franchises can be easy because they're already getting your customers. They're already answering the phone. They're already doing bits and pieces. If you do that, you end up having your own business that has some value at the end. When you finish with your franchise, well, you're basically finished with it. If you finish with your business, it's a saleable. So yeah.